Dear audience, it's my honor to speak on the New Directions East Asia. I'm the presenter from Jiaotong University, the School of Foreign Studies. The study I'm going to report is CSE-based contrastive analysis of reading constructs of high school entrance exam, a geographical perspective. It is supervised by Professor Meng from the school. The study belongs to a larger project, namely CSE-3 in rural northwest China, Diagnosis and Dynamic Intervention, initiated by my supervisor. My presentation will be divided into the following 6 parts. I'll start with the research background. China's Standards of English Ability has been implemented to provide universal standards and frameworks for language teaching, learning, and assessment. Since its implementation, a bunch of CSE-related studies has emerged. Among those, CSE-based test analysis helps to compare test content and the language standards and will give advice to test development. In addition, rooted in the national strategic background of the revitalization of Western areas in China, the government devotes to promote the fairness of language education across the country. More attention needs to be paid to the underdeveloped northwestern areas. The next part is literature review. The current study in Nature is a linking study. Linking or aligning refers to the process of linking two independent tools for measurement. As for the alignment between language tests and proficiency frameworks, the manual implemented by Council of Europe in 2009 provided guidelines for alignment involving a set of procedures such as familiarization, specification, standard setting, and validation. In essence, alignment is a content-based validation, the aim of which is to investigate to what extent the test content is aligned with the language skills represented by language standards. Following the manual, previous researchers have made great efforts to align language tests with proficiency frameworks. Internationally, TOEFL, TOEIC, IELTS, and APTIS tests have been linked to the Common European Framework for reference. Within the Chinese context, especially after CSE's implementation, researchers focus on its alignment with domestic high-stake examinations such as the reading test of college entrance exam, CET-4, CET-6, and some in-house English proficiency tests. By reviewing the literature, we concluded the necessity of the study. In terms of methodology, experts' understanding of performance descriptions and constructs of the target test greatly affects the validity of alignment. To improve the consistency of expert judgment will enhance the content validity and complement evidence for linking results. Generally speaking, there are 2 research gaps. First is there is a lack of evidence concerning content validation, especially in the early stage of alignment. And second is the Delphi as a decision-making method was rarely used in content validation. It has several advantages, such as expert authority and anonymity, controlled forecasting, and quantified results. Well, in terms of the research topic, we find that few studies investigate the relationship between CSE and the language tests of middle school level. And also, there is a scarcity of research on cross-regional contrastive analysis of test constructs or subskills. Please pay attention that these 2 nouns can be used interchangeably in this study. The most important aim of the study is to align the test content of high school entrance exams with CSE Level 3 reading subskills and make comparisons among different regions. It is worth mentioning that the study belongs to a larger project to facilitate language diagnosis and dynamic intervention in northwest rural areas. It's expected to promote test development of high-stake examinations. 2 research questions were raised. The first is, what constructs can be extracted from the reading skills of CSE-3? And second is, to what extent the English reading constructs in high school entrance exam are aligned with CSE? What are the regional differences? The next part is methods. To solve question 1, we decided to extract reading constructs from the reading subskills of CSE-3, which describes English proficiency of middle school students, also with reference to skill categorization by Davis and curriculum standards. For question 2, the Delphi technique was adopted. is a procedure to obtain the most reliable consensus of opinion from a group of experts by a series of judgments interspersed with controlled opinion feedback and rounds of discussion. Participants are comprised of experts in language testing and experienced teachers. They formed two panels. Panel 1 participated in construct extraction, and Panel 2 participated in construct coding. Instruments include reading tests and reading skills. Tests are from the high school entrance exams of Shaanxi province and Beijing city in 2019, representative of two areas. There are in total 23 multiple choice items, and the skills are 1 overall reading skills and 6 reading cognitive subskills of CSE-3. In the standards, the proficiency descriptors were stated in the can-do form. The following flowchart depicts the procedure. The first step is multiple round extraction. 8 reading constructs were extracted from the skills and then refined and clarified by Panel 1 experts. Here is the process. 2 were excluded, namely intent of speakers and distinguish or summarize information. Then we built the construct coding framework. 6 reading constructs ultimately formed the framework. And Panel 2 experts can assign ratings 0 to 3 to each reading test item. 0 means not examined, 1 means main construct, 2 represents the secondary construct, and 3 is the subordinate construct. Before coding, we hold a training session. The purpose is to introduce the rules of coding and familiarize experts with test items and the language descriptions. They can also discuss about the construct definitions. In the first round coding, 5 experts completed the first round without any discussion. Then the inter-rater agreement was assessed by Fleiss Kappa package in RStudio application. In the second round, experts can discuss about the results of the first round. Items with low inter-rater agreement were coded by the experts for the second time. The last is to confirm the constructs. The reading constructs examined by each test item was confirmed by the frequency of coding results. Experts were gathered again for an open discussion to confirm the constructs of the items with low inter-rater agreement during the second round. Here comes to the data analysis. The criteria for judging inter-rater agreement is as follows. Below 0.4 is low consistency. Above 0.4, below 0.75 represents the moderate consistency, and above 0.75 represents good consistency. We find that a complete agreement was reached on the main construct of 16 test items. 2 items show moderate consistency, and 5 items show low consistency. We also compare the coding results of the 2 rounds. Experts' consistency on the main construct of item 13 and item 20 was significantly improved, but the constructs of item 2, item 7, and item 10 were still uncertain. Through discussion, it was found that experts' disagreement exists in the differentiation of detail extraction, opinion and attitude, just understanding, and inferencing. Now we come to the results in discussion. To answer the question 1, we extracted 6 constructs. They are semantic comprehension, detail extraction, syntax and cohesion, opinion and attitude, just understanding, and inferencing. To answer the question 2, we compared the frequency of reading constructs of the 2 tests. It was found that both are generally aligned with the reading skills of CSE-3, but do not cover all the reading constructs. Here are some similarities between the 2 tests. First is the type of the reading constructs is similar, and more than half of the items examined detail extraction. More items focus on gist understanding, while less touches upon semantic comprehension, but both tests ignored higher level cognitive skills like C3 and C4. Here exists one difference. Shaanxi test lacks the investigation of inferencing ability, but it is examined by 1 item in Beijing test. Back to the original skills, we found that the inferencing ability is explicitly stipulated in the standards. Here are the related descriptions. Previous research has concluded that middle school students perform better in lower or micro-level reading skills than in higher-level or more comprehensive skills. Test developers might focus less on higher-level cognitive skills in order to control the overall difficulty of the test. That partly explains why both tests rarely investigated higher-level comprehension abilities. Last is implications and limitations. For test development, the study advises that test developers should attach greater importance to micro-level reading skills, such as to understand the logical relationships and the author's opinions or attitudes. For testing and teaching in Northwest rural areas, based on CSE and the national curriculums, test developers and teachers should enhance the balanced inspection of reading abilities and provide remedial intervention for students lacking those abilities. And in terms of the research methodology, we found that the Delphi method can enhance experts' understanding of proficiency descriptors, thereby effectively comparing test content with language standards and providing evidence of content validity for future linking studies. Limitations of the study lies in two aspects. It is questionable whether the extracted constructs are well representatives of the original ability descriptions, and the number of test items we used in the study is limited. There is a lack of diachronic comparison. Further studies in this project explored examinees' responses to these test items. There are students from both rural areas and cities, and we also employed eye tracking to conduct dynamic intervention for students with learning difficulties. Here are some major references. That's all about my presentation. Thank you. Questions and suggestions are welcomed.